Tonight, a local scout group left heartbroken after thousands of dollars worth of its equipment is stolen. And could Trump be causing trouble here while the US president has a local MP concerned about steel?
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. Port Augusta's scout group has been left fuming after thousands of dollars worth of camping equipment was stolen from its haul. Police have slammed the actions of the callous thieves and are pleading with anyone with information to come forward.
Port Augusta's scouts returned from a camping trip on Sunday and only a day later their hard-earned equipment was gone.
It's a very disappointing act for someone to steal from a volunteer youth group that is doing their best to provide activities for the young people in our town.
Group leaders believe the equipment was stolen between 6:30 on Monday night and 10:30 a.m. on Tuesday.
Someone's gained access to our shed by cutting off the hasp at the front of the shed and then making off with a lot of our gear.
Altogether, the gear is estimated to be worth over $6,000.
They're very large, very heavy items, so it's going to take us some time to catalogue everything that's missing and then replace it all.
Scout group leaders say that 5 clearly identifiable tents were stolen from the shed, including tent poles and LED lights clearly inscribed with the initials PASG. Police are urging anyone with more information on the theft to come forward.
So we recommend if anyone's seen anyone or heard of anyone trying to sell any cheap camping type equipment is what was taken, or people that have come in possession of items like that wouldn't usually have them, to contact us and let us know.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Plans by the US president to place tariffs on steel imported into America has raised concerns in the region. Rowan Ramsey says while he doesn't expect it to affect Whyala's steelworks directly, he's concerned it could hurt the industry as a whole.
He's talked big, and Donald Trump now looks set to deliver. He's building a wall around his steel industry and will make the world pay for it via a 25% tariff.
People have to understand our country on trade has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world.
His comments have sent shockwaves around the globe, including to our little part of the world. Federal MP Rowan Ramsey says hiking tariffs is short-term gain for long-term pain. He's working with the Trade Minister and the PM to ensure we're not cut off.
I had a good talk with those people within the offices about, where we are, how we're managing this, what kind of assurances we're given.
Australia exports around 200,000 tonnes of steel a year to the States. While that might seem like a lot, on an industry scale it's only a small amount. But with Sanjeev Gupta's bold plans for the steelworks, Mr Ramsey says we can't be complacent.
At the end of the day, it won't be a good outcome for anyone.
But the flow-on effects could be the issue. President Trump's measures could start a trade war across the globe, affecting other steel markets. And other steel-producing nations would likely target Australia's relaxed free trade nature, putting the squeeze on Whyala once again.
It goes somewhere else in the world and disrupts somebody else's market. So we're going to have to have our finger on the pulse here.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
The state opposition is pushing for the cashless welfare card to be rolled out across the entire Eyre Peninsula. 800 residents in Ceduna are currently on the system, but support services believe it would have a negative effect if it went ahead.
It's caused controversy and sparked national debate, but now the cashless welfare card could be rolled out across the state. Federal member Rowan Ramsey says he would like to see the card pushed out to the regions, including the Lower Eyre Peninsula, but youth services say it would be a step backwards.
To be labelled as someone that doesn't know how they can spend their money or can't spend their money is quite difficult for people, and it has long-lasting impact.
The card is currently being trialled in Ceduna, meaning welfare recipients under the age of 35 receive 80% of their benefits on a debit card, which can't be used to gamble or purchase alcohol. Locals say it's not a long-term solution.
They don't get to learn how to do things differently. They're just forced and made to do things differently. If you want real change in communities, it's about supporting communities to create that change for themselves.
In June, Pauline Hanson visited Port Augusta to advocate her support for the cashless rollout, which was knocked back by local council.
What a load of rubbish. I wish they'd sit down and speak to these people that have seen the results of it and they're praising it to the hilts.
Speaking from welfare experience, Joanne Clark says the money could be better spent.
Being put into early intervention and prevention programs, because that is what creates change.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
A new Optus 4G mobile tower near Moonta is believed to be the cause behind poor television reception across the region. 40 residents have reported issues with receiving a TV signal since last Thursday. Southern Cross television engineers are working on a solution. Residents with booster antennas more than 5 years old are being urged to replace their antennas or install a 4G ready booster. Still to come tonight, the local woman spearheading a campaign to help regional women talk about their mental health. That's next. SA Best is pledging to push for more services to return to the Whyalla Hospital as part of holding the balance of power. Nick Xenophon and Tom Antonio say full-time obstetricians and paediatric specialists will return. The party will also push for more than 100 administrative jobs to be based in the city.
I want to see, and SA Best will do everything it can to make sure we have paediatricians that are permanently stationed in Whyalla.
Security will also be beefed up to protect nurses and patients from attacks by aggressive patients. And the Whyalla and Port Augusta jetties could see an improvement under SA Best. The party will push for $2.5 million to be allocated to the $3 million Whyalla jetty rebuild. The $500,000 committed to the Port Augusta jetty revamp will be bumped to around $1 million.
This continual cost-shifting exercise, particularly cost-shifting of government assets, has to stop. That pressure back on local communities.
Whyalla's jetty has been closed for nearly a year since it was declared unsafe by SafeWork SA. The federal government has announced funding for more truck stops across the far north. 4 heavy vehicle rest areas will be installed along the Stuart Highway in a bid to reduce driver fatigue.
On a highway like this, it's certainly not easy to just pull over a truck.
They need a place that gives room to the traffic, so they've got to get far enough off.
Under the Heavy Vehicle Safety and Productivity Program, the federal government has announced $3.2 million in funding for 4 rest stops along the Stuart Highway.
Part of the commitment was if we're going to have resting regulations for long-distance truck drivers, we need to have places for them to rest.
It's all in a bid to reduce dangerous driver fatigue.
This is what kills people. And those big trucks, it's not easy just to find a place on the side of the road to park them.
For those travelling on the highway, rest areas will be installed in key gaps on the route, one 74 kilometres north of Marla, 40 kilometres south of Pirie and another 122 k's north of Glendambo. The fourth will see a parking bay just below the NT border converted into a rest area.
They need to get off the road, so the more of them we've got, the more likely it is that the drivers will be able to manage that. Their fatigue levels and their sleeping patterns better.
Mr Ramsey says the project will only add to the safety of the region's roads.
And the widening of the road, the shoulders, at 15 kilometres south of Whyalla on the Lincoln Highway, which is around about the Iron Barron turn-off, are all, bringing up the level of our highways, the safety level of our highways.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
A trek to help women combat stress and improve mental health is set to hit South Australia. Diana Miglik from Moonta has been selected as a regional ambassador for Coast Trek, helping women living regionally to get active and walk their worries away.
Helping women prioritise their mental health and fitness by walking and talking. In September this year, over 2,000 Aussies will take on either a 30k or 60k challenge, hiking along some of Adelaide's most beautiful coastlines. Advocate for regional communities, Diana Miglik has been chosen to represent Coast Trek, her commitment to the local community inspiring to many.
She embodies everything that is inspiring. She's a woman who reaches out to support others.
Coast Trek's goal this year, to inspire and empower women to make walking part of their daily life.
To talk, to walk and to talk. Walking and talking, we can solve the problems of the world and we can certainly make a difference.
She's now calling for regional women, especially those over 30 and who lead busy lives, to embrace their natural surrounds.
To get out and really be part of their backyard and nature, in particular beaches and walking along our beautiful coastline.
This year, Coastrek is aiming to raise over $1 million to help support Australians fighting mental health issues through Beyond Blue, with 1 in 3 women likely to experience anxiety in their lifetime and 1 in 5 to experience depression.
Means that it's going to lift the profile of how important exercise is.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
After the break, a 2-year-old from Port Lincoln marching to the beat of his own drum. We meet the local lad next. The New South Wales opposition has lashed out at the government over incorrect statistics that formed part of an investigation into the Murray-Darling Basin Plan. It follows revelations the number of prosecutions for breaches of water laws was found to be inaccurate.
It's a scathing attack by the opposition.
Enough of the lies, enough of the mistruths, enough of the misleading.
The State Water Minister was forced to set the record straight this week regarding stats submitted to the State Ombudsman by the governing body for water law compliance. It was investigating whether Water New South Wales had misled the investigator when it gave stats about the number of prosecutions and enforcement actions it had taken over the previous year.
It suggested that prosecutions were up for water rorts and water theft on the Darling. It subsequently emerged that that was not true.
It turns out the numbers that were once quoted by Mr Blair in Parliament were inaccurate.
The worst thing is that the New South Wales government had threatened to pull out of the Murray-Darling agreement on the basis that they'd put police back on the beat, and they knew that that was false the whole time.
In a statement to Southern Cross News, the Water Minister said the figures were incorrect and have since been amended. He also said the newly established Natural Resource Access Regulator will build a compliance and enforcement regime that will ensure strong regulation of water across the state. Labor is still concerned it took 22 days for the Minister to inform Parliament.
He's got an obligation as a Minister of the Crown to tell the truth at all times, particularly to Parliament.
The correct numbers will be included in the Ombudsman's report to be tabled this month. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Business Port Pirie is reporting a bumper trade since rebranding last week. Today saw the official handover of a new secretary for BPP, with more local businesses also getting on board.
Giving businesses in Port Pirie a voice where it matters most. Long-standing Secretary Ken Jeffries stepping down, passing his wisdom on to Kylie Phillips from Port Pirie's Federal Hotel.
To pass on to somebody else, and I think Kylie's going to do a marvellous job.
Kylie will bring a wealth of knowledge from her industry, but also more importantly a modern approach to what could be a vibrant town.
My business experience that I've had in other areas, and also new ideas and just a new voice.
Kylie's a firm believer in BPP's motto, "Together we are stronger."
Not about competing with each other, it's about working together to make our whole town stronger to attract more people.
Kylie plans to bring the Federal Hotel back to its former glory days, attracting more people to the town.
An iconic building with a 5-storey watchtower, which is unique to this hotel. There isn't another one like it in all of Australia.
And with her help, Business Port Pirie is well on track to reaching its goal of 200 members by the end of the year.
At least 100 members in the next month and potentially 200 within the next 12 months.
It instills local pride, and the locals start to feel good about their town and their own businesses, and they support us here in Port Pirie without even seeing a need to go further afield.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
A gifted Port Lincoln boy is marching to the beat of his own drum at just 2 years old. As you're about to see, talented toddler Matt Karabaridis has an ear for music that is well beyond his years.
When parents Con and Annie Karabaridis noticed their son Matt had an ear for music, they did what any parent would do, hand him some sticks.
It just really blows your mind that someone so little has an amazing ability for his age.
He sort of discovered the salad bowls and the mixing bowls in the cupboard. Gave him a pair of chopsticks and he started beating the drums basically.
Matt looks like a regular 2-year-old but has a very special gift.
He's actually developing a rhythm, and none of us have taught him that.
Yeah, just naturally.
Neither of us are drummers.
Matt's talents are mostly a blessing, but the terrible twos can be an earful.
Trying to watch TV or have a phone conversation, yeah, there's definitely inappropriate time. The neighbours
are sleeping. You can't play it now.
Annie and Con plan to enrol Matt into music lessons when he's a little older, but for now this Port Lincoln drummer is just happy making his own beat. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Certainly can play the drums, can't he? Time now for Fuel Watch. Here's Pat.
There's only been a little bit of movement in petrol prices this week, making it a quiet start to March. Starting with unleaded, and Port Lincoln is one of the rare ones to see green. The town is down to $1.38 after a ½ cent decline. Wyler and Port Augusta are in the same boat, hovering around the same price. Port Pirie is the cheapest in the Spencer Gulf at $1.35, while Cadina has jumped a cent to sit at $1.37. Here in Broken Hill, we're seeing a little bit of green, but it's only minuscule. The low prices in Adelaide have come to an end. The City of Churches is now paying around $1.43. To diesel now, and as you can see, it's all quiet on the Spencer Gulf front. Port Lincoln is holding strong on $1.37, Wyler is a cent more, Port Augusta is 2 cents more. Both Port Pirie and Cadina are sitting on $1.36, while Broken Hill is a tad dearer at $1.39. Adelaide is very cheap at the moment. The price is almost under $1.30. Now remember, these prices are the regional averages and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. If you happen to find a spot that does sell unleaded or diesel for cheaper, let us know on our Facebook page.
Stay with us. After the break, we'll have the weather with Amy. And Amy, it seems though summer isn't ready to say goodbye to the Spencer Gulf just yet.
It certainly does feel that way, Fraser. With another warm day around the Spencer Gulf, I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. The warm weather continued in Port Augusta, 34 the top there. Whyalla reached 31, while Port Lincoln remained slightly cooler with a top of 28. Meanwhile, temperatures hovered in the low 30s in all other centres. Checking the satellite, and cloudy skies in the northwest will bring the odd shower. Some patchy skies also over the southern peninsulas. If you're planning to spend some time on the waters tomorrow, there will be southwesterly winds shifting southeasterly up to 20 knots. Seas will reach 2 metres and the sun will pop up at 7:12. Taking a look at tomorrow's conditions, and those summer temperatures will continue. Port Augusta will reach 34, as will Woodner and Corn, 35 in Port Pirie. However, milder temperatures in the low 30s are expected for all other districts. Looking towards the weekend, and Port Lincoln and Cleve can expect sunny days with temperatures in the low 30s. Woodner will be slightly warmer, reaching 35 on Saturday. Further up the Gulf, and temperatures will creep towards the mid-30s in Whyalla and Port Augusta well into the weekend, with Cadina set to experience milder days and tops of 33. Some warmer days ahead in Port Pirie, while temperatures in Broken Hill and Clare will remain in the low to mid-30s over the weekend. So Fraser, it will be like summer never left at all as we head into the weekend, with the warm temperatures set to continue around the Spencer Gulf.
Thank you, Amy. And that's all the news to now. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.